blind, you're not going to get job in this.
It's not about being liberal. It's just bad taste.
Right, but my point being is that you know, this particular person who I've never met before recognized the value of it, you know, and was willing to, you know, and I feel bad because I feel like I haven't. It's like, you know, I feel like I want her to feel like she's getting the most out of this, and not wasting not wasting their money and stuff like that. But then the other people that are quote unquote more religious and this and all that kind of stuff, I haven't heard jack from them.
Yeah, you're not gonna get anything from them because to them, and this is a gross generalization.
Sorry, we're all about stereotypes.
The more of the more your religiosity goes up, sort of the more of a shell you create around yourself. And it should be the opposite, but unfortunately it's not. And so that, you know, interacting, again, that's one of the things I learned in Hajj, is that religion is not about you and yourself and you and your shell. It's about people. How did you treat other people? And if you fought your way through the Hajj, if you didn't care about other people, you threw trash everywhere, I don't think, you know, Allah knows best, but your Hajj does not look like it's going to be accepted. So similarly in life, you know, you go through life crapping on people, and yet it's all, you know, everybody who goes through Hajj, they're all praying the whole time. They're making dhikr and dua the whole time. But they're still treating people badly. Right. So same thing in life.
That makes sense.
But they'll push up people's back and create some kind of stamp.
But even the flip side of this with the show, like I was listening to a lecture last night on the road, and you know the man was saying when it comes to Islam, it's not something that you just hoard to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Even in knowledge. I mean, if you know something, you apply it, you spread it. You know something, you apply it, you spread it. You know what I mean? And I think for so many Muslims to constantly complain about the negative media on Islam, the negative media on Muslims, the negative portrayal, the misconceptions, and then when you have an avenue that's being paved, granted, no matter how small it is, right now to me it's fairly small compared to other media outlets.
But it has to start.
It has to start somewhere. You know, but to not have any support or basically just you know, oh, the show's doing good. I saw you know, I remember I saw the first show, the second show, and we're on show 17. It's like you don't really care.
Yeah. It's like, you know, I kind of want to watch. I want to listen to it, but you know, I'm just, you know, I can't remember.
And then it's like, hey, look, here's what's your number? Like literally after June, I'm like, hey, look, I got your number. I'll text you the link to YouTube right now. Check it out.
Right, exactly.
Come back 2-3 Jumas later. I haven't had time to check it.
It's like I'm too lazy to listen in the morning.
It's like you can't complain if you're not willing to change it.
It's one of the things to serve the people. You got to love the people. Oh. I'm just saying it. This is really no.
It's El Hajj. Preach on, bro.
I do the same thing. No, in my own job, I do the exact same thing. You know, I work on serving low and moderate income Virginians, mostly on housing, but I've done it on healthcare. And people complain about certain things, and then when it's time to make your voice heard, when you have the opportunity to tell the people in power what needs to change in your life, it's like, oh, I'm busy, I'm this, it's not that important, you know. And so that's always there. But you got to push past that.
And usually it doesn't require you move mountain and earth.
Exactly.
It's like, hey, listen, dude. Yeah, send an email, bro. We need you to show up at the General Assembly. Just show up. Just show up. That's it. That's all I got to do. Just show up. Bro.
I think you guys are doing really, really good work. I think you got to be really persistent. I think, you know, you have emails that you send out. Start building your list. And if somebody isn't opening your emails, take them off your list. Build a list of people that are, you know, engaged in reading and opening your emails. Just it seems weird. You seem like, but the more emails I have, the better. Forget those people.
No, right.
If they don't listen, they don't exist. You know, add the people who are listening. They may be Muslim, they may be not Muslim. They may be liberal, they may be whatever. But you never know what changes people.
I mean, I have an evangelical Christian who's, you know, hey, and you know,
there are all kinds of people who are ready for us as Muslims to be involved in the community, to speak out on issues, to always be ready to contradict people who are preaching an intolerant message and a message that's not inclusive, or a message that promotes extremism, and they're willing to invest as well. So I think we should be open to having them as partners. And I think it's hard though. It's hard. It's really, really hard. And it's going to be the hardest right now. It's always going to feel like it's about to collapse. But inshallah, you know, I'm committed to help you guys. So, you know, I have my own network, and inshallah I'm going to start pushing it out and trying to get people involved in shows and so that the content that you have can improve. You know, my fundraising network is not very strong, being a young person, and a lot of my friends are underemployed or unemployed.
Underemployed.
They have jobs, but they don't really have jobs. And I'm very blessed to have a job. But, you know, even my job. I'll just say that, not to get too personal, but I'm making now what I thought I would make when I got out of college. So it's tough, but things are getting better.
Right.
Things are getting better for people, inshallah. And
so what was your most shocking
moment?
The
most shocking moment, the moment where your faith falls to your stomach, is when I was at the Haram, right outside the Safa and Marwa gate. So that's the gate by the portion of the sacred mosque that commemorates Hagar's journey back and forth between the mountains of Safa and Marwa, where her son Ishmael is, crying and he wants water or food, and she's trying to find water. So they've built a mosque, they built a section of the mosque to commemorate that right between the two mountains of Safa and Marwa. So there's a gate right outside there. Outside that gate, there was just crazy throngs of people. And we were waiting for the rest of our group. This is where we were going to rendezvous after we had done what we needed to do. There was a big Pakistani guy with a big red henna beard. And he was just sitting, with this scowl on his face. And he saw us drinking water. We had some Zamzam with us, some water. And so he saw the water and he asked us for water. And we gave him water. We were like, look, we'll give you water, but we're both sick. He's like, it's all right, I'm sick too. So we gave him the water. He downed it in one gulp and just threw the bottle on the ground. Right on the Haram. We're not even outside the Haram. This is on the marble floors outside the
inside
gate.
The mosque.
Wow.
Inside the sacred mosque. And I wanted to vomit on him. It was just so... And we scolded him right there. And he just shrugged. And it's like, you can't come somewhere and pray and pretend to ask for forgiveness while acting that way. You cannot.
It's crazy.
I don't care...
Total contradiction.
I don't care who wants to call me a spoiled American. It is not acceptable. And, Allah is... that. One of the things I learned is just how merciful and loving God is, because He invites us to come to His house every year. Millions of us come to His house every year, and that's how we treat it. And that's how we treat each other. It's not just about trash. I saw the way people treated each other, how they pushed and shoved and argued and yelled and cursed. And, there is a reason people are suffering all over the world. There's a reason we as Muslims are suffering.
Right.
100%.
And I saw it on Hajj. I saw how we treat each other. And we have a long way to go.
Right.
But Allah is so loving and merciful, and I pray that He changes our hearts and the hearts of everyone around the world.
My wife saw that too. That it wasn't just a bottle. I mean, this lady was eating on her prayer mat and all that kind of stuff, and just took the prayer mat and just dumped it, and there was a banana peel in this and all that kind of stuff. And she said, I just couldn't for the life of me just not say anything. And she said that but you can't. The hard thing is when you say, they look at you like
you're crazy.
Yeah, like
what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
And it's a culture thing, because when we were camped at Mina, in the American tents, trash piles up. Trash is everywhere. So it's not that we are like, oh, there's trash. It's that in the American tents, when trash piled up, we would find something to put it in.
And collect it.
And collect it. So the trash cans, they're full like this.
Right.
But then we would find boxes or bags, and we would add them. So you walk through any American, Turkish, European tent, and you'll see trash piled in bags. You walk through an Indian tent, it's all over the ground.
Wow.
They don't care. So the trash is full. I just throw it anywhere. I sleep on it. It's where
I'm gonna add that to my Hajj travel list of boxes of trash bags.
And so this attitude that it's trash, it's everywhere. This is Hajj. No, there's a way to change it.
Yeah.
And
but it starts with the people. You have to change yourself.
My 6-year-old son, the most disturbing thing that he still remembers from us being there 2 summers ago was trash. He wanted to go outside because there's a park outside my father-in-law's high-rise where we're living. He literally said, he goes, can we go to the park? I was like, he goes, yeah, can we just pick up some trash?
And that's it. And there's
I was just shocked, like, what am I supposed to, tell him that this is, and it's like, we're in a Muslim country. He hears the call to prayer all the time.
Yeah.
There's a mosque on every corner, right? And so I had to basically detach that from that. This is not part of Islam. That this should not be associated with Islam, to think, oh, we live in America and there are Christians over there, but look how clean they are, and look at us Muslims and how we treat
And it is absolutely something that's taught, and it's a culture thing, and it can be changed. And so what would happen is nobody came in to clean the American tents. It's not like, oh, we had so much money that. It's that after every meal, somebody or all of us, we would get up, pick up our trash, and put it in whatever we could find, and it would go next to the trash can. And that's not. Nobody said you go pick up the trash. It was, sometimes I would do it, sometimes someone else would do it. And that's the amazing thing. And I think that's, we have to work together and teach each other these things. And people have to be open to it. Because the reality is, if when I would say this to other people who were not in the American group, they'd be offended. Because it's like, don't try to tell me what to do, you Americans. And I understand it. Look, I wouldn't want somebody from India lecturing me about stuff. But you've got to be open to it. You got to be open to it, inshallah. Because it's the haram. It's the most sacred place on earth. I mean, this is something that, you think about it, it's just the symbolism, it's out of control. This thing you're praying to that's right in front of you, this is the first house built to worship the one God. And it's not a Muslim thing, it's a human thing.
Right. It's like the weight of history.
Exactly. The weight of history is all over you. And it's so sad. I think if Abraham could see it, he would
have stepped on somebody.
Really sad.
Oh man!
But then like I was there when I did the Umrah. I call it out of season pilgrimage.
Right.
And I was there during Ramadan, and it's like there isn't an organized distribution of food for when you break your fast.
Right.
People just bring it, and if you go towards the last 10 days of Ramadan, there's 500,000 people there, which is a lot outside of the season.
Yeah.
And in the most orderly fashion, some local dude decides that he's gonna distribute food, and he just gets people, and they're walking around giving you dates, and there's some dude behind him who's got 2 jugs of water, and he's just filling it up, and it's just.
And I've talked a lot about some of the negative things, but there are incredibly inspiring things as well. So like that. Sometimes people would be, not people making Hajj, but other people would be fasting during certain parts of Hajj. And so at Masjid al-Nabawi or at the Haram, there would be dates and water and coffee distributed, and it's incredibly orderly. And everybody cleans up after themselves. Nobody leaves that stuff sitting around. And again, it's a contradiction. We as humans, we're full of contradictions.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then what you see is the people that actually come to clean up, the actual staff there. Yeah. They have squeegees. I don't know if you saw this.
Yeah, we saw them. They are incredibly efficient.
Oh yeah, they bring and they rope up this place, right? So they got 4 or 5 dudes with a rope.
Yep.
They got a rope and they're pushing back 20,000 people. And one dude comes and he's got socks on and he throws, because the whole thing is marble. Yeah. So he throws this bucket of
soapy water.
3-4 dudes come behind him and they're just squeegee. And they move, it's just like a puzzle. They go from area to area to area.
It's really brilliant. And it's so funny because the first time I saw it, I was like, this is crazy. Because all of a sudden these dudes in what look like medical scrubs.
Yes,
they look
they're
like
green.
medical scrubs.
They're like actually like your shirt color.
Exactly. They start running and they're throwing soap. And you're like, what is going on? And then a dude comes with a tape. And it's like a dance. It's like a ballet. And then all of a sudden 4 guys in squeegees. And then done. And they moved on. It's really.
So it can take them probably like 2 minutes to clean up the size of a football field.
Yeah,
and it's just gone. And then people just go back to
I will say one thing, which I don't know if I should say this on camera, but something that really just opens your eyes to, oh my God, I'm in Saudi Arabia, is that the group that is in charge of construction and renovation for the 2 sacred mosques. You know what I'm about to say, right?
Yes, I know. Go ahead, bro.
It's the Bin Laden group.
Yes, that's right. The Bin Laden group. I walked by it. It's actually the Bin Laden group.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I'm in Masjid Quba, which is the masjid that was built. It's literally the first masjid in Islam, the first mosque in Islam. It's when the Prophet emigrated from Mecca to Medina, and that's where his camel sat. They built a masjid, beautiful masjid. But I'm sitting there, I prayed, and I was just looking, just watching. I see this dude with a brown uniform. Again, just one of the employees. He's like a custodian, like a cleaner.
Right.
And,
janitorial staff.
Janitorial staff. And it says Bin Laden on the back of his uniform. I'm like, I asked one of my friends, I'm like, what is that?
What is that? Wow! That's
and he was like, oh, he works for the Bin Laden group. They all work. And I was like, I've never seen a uniform. They're like, yeah. After 9/11, they changed all the uniforms. But it's like, wow, this is welcome to Saudi Arabia. Yeah. And again, nothing sinister.
Amazing.
The Bin Laden group's been around forever. And for people that didn't know, Osama bin Laden is part of this wealthy Saudi family. But again, it's it's
you drive by there and there's just like, you know, how you kind of you drive by, the sign says Microsoft or Google or, you know.
Kind of like seeing Whiting Turner, you know, here.
Yeah, Bin Laden
Laden
group. They're like, yeah, there's Bin Laden group. I'm like, oh, okay. Just, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's amazing. Did you go to the Mountain of Light?
Yes. Yeah. We were close to it. We didn't go all the way up.
Oh, you didn't go all the way up. Okay. Yeah. So that's the mountain that Prophet Muhammad would go to in the cave to meditate. And the interesting thing about that is that the distance to Mecca, where the mosque is quite far for a walk.
It is far.
So if you imagine, he would make that trip on a regular.
And that's what, when I made Hajj, you know, I talk a lot, 3 or 4 days in a row, you walk 20, 25 kilometers in the heat. And what I thought of a lot is I had sneakers, and I had Gatorade, and I had power bars with me.
Right.
And the Prophet Muhammad, maybe he had dates and water. Maybe he had sandals.
Maybe, right.
Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know what he carried with him. And he would do that multiple times in the heat. And you suddenly realize what it was like. That this person that you read about and that you pray about and who you try to emulate, his life was hard in every way possible.
Right.
And everybody's life was hard. And there's something, again, going back to desert spirituality, what was it like for him to walk for 6 hours or 5 hours or 3 hours, to go to a cave and pray to God, to a God he didn't know, to a God he just on a gut level felt had to exist, that there had to be one God, that these idols and this, you know, polytheism, it just didn't ring true to him.
Right.
And he would walk for hours and then sit in a cave in the heat.
And this is you know, because I've actually gone up. It's quite a trek up. I mean, now they got stairs and you know, a path, but imagine there's no path and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, it's kind of awe-inspiring to note that, you know, what was it about this particular mountain that led him to this? Because, you know, you go up and you go up again and then you go around and you just have to squeeze through these, you know, boulders to get to this.
Inspiration from Allah, man.
Yeah, it's
he
just
says that's where you gotta go. Then
to go up there, and it's just it was fascinating. I told him the story. So I went up there when I wanted to do suhoor up there. So I went up there. That's right before the dawn to open to eat, so you don't have to you can start your fast. And so I took a lot of food and all that kind of stuff, and I went up there and like, so there was a lot of people there, and so you can see the mosque from the distance, and so we started to pray Fajr in the morning, and there's a lot of baboons there, monkeys all around.
And that surprised me. I was like, monkeys in the desert? That's crazy.
And so we're standing there praying, and so you can see the main mosque, and I noticed this monkey in the corner of my eye.
You know this is gonna be the third time you got the story.
I'm telling you, that's all right. You can hear it again. This thing is coming, and I'm like, what's he doing? And he looks at me, he hisses at me, and he snatches my bag. I have to tell you, this bag right here, I didn't introduce the bag. This bag right here.
Is that the bag he snatched?
This is the bag he snatched. He grabbed this, right?
This is where he took
No. He snatches this, right? And this is, for the record, Bukhari says he's making fun of the bag.
I hate that bag.
That's why I haven't returned it, is because, you know, and he grabs it, and he's down the mountain. Right? And as soon as he grabbed it, I'm taking off after it. Right? I got no shoes. It's twilight. I can't see where I'm going, and I'm just going down the mountain.
Wow.
Right? And then for 1 second, I'm like, maybe I should just let him go. Then it occurred to me that, no, my camera's in there, my money's in there, my passport's in there, my driver's license is in there. Because for 1 second, I was like, I don't want to catch rabies. But then I was like, I don't want to get stuck in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I'll take my chances with the rabies over a thing. And I'm running down this mountain, and it's like a 45-degree angle, and he stops, and he's trying to pry open my bag, because he smells the food. He's carrying it, and literally, I felt like crying. Like this emotion was coming over me, because there was nothing for me to grab. There's all kinds of trash. There's no stick or something to throw at him, and so, like, at that panicked moment, I was like, oh, Allah help me. And I was just like literally crying. And the next thing I know, I turned a corner and the bag is just sitting right there.
That's crazy.
And there's just no monkey, nothing. And so here's the killer. So I grabbed the bag, put it on my thing, and I'm just out of breath. I'm just out of breath, all that kind of stuff. And I look up, and everyone is at the top you know, majority of them were from Turkey, and they're all at the top talking, and they got this smirk on this face. So,
like this man and the monkey.
Exactly. Somewhere in Turkey, there's a legend of the white dude, the man from America that took off after the monkey
in the middle of Fajr.
Exactly, and came back down, and then I grabbed the stick. The funny thing is I grabbed the stick, and as I was walking down the mountain, I saw them all kind of trailing me, and I was like,
people or monkeys?
No, the monkeys. It's like
crazy.
He went and got his posse. Yeah, the tribe. It's like, you know, Vito Corleone went and got the clan. But it was just, you know,
he can mess with us.
I was like, wow. It's just, you know, so. But yes, so I've not given up the bag, even though I can send it in for them to send me a new one. So that's just, you know, my crazy Saudi story. But
yeah. So Gaza next week.
Yes. Gaza.
I'm gonna try to see if I can find you some people.
We want to talk about it this week, but you know,
I was loaded, man.
For the first time, he did research.
It's not the first time. Because every time I do research, somehow plans get diverted. I think
what would make it really good is if you could find someone that worked there or lived there.
Right. That's what we want, is because it's, you know, to get away from the sound bites and to actually bring you real people that have actually been there.
I don't do sound bites. I was just going to raise some pertinent questions, see what kind of answers came up.
Have any of the Abids visited there recently?
I saw one of them and I asked him, I said, how was your visit? He goes, it's so depressing. He goes, every time I go back, every year, you know, there's more land that's been taken.
My brother-in-law and my father-in-law recently visited there. They actually went to Palestine.
Which part did they go to?
They went to the West Bank.
Okay.
Not to Gaza. And they went to the Dome of the Rock and to Masjid al-Aqsa.
Okay.
It's hard to find people who live in Gaza. You know, like, West Bank is so much bigger. I mean, that's really kind of Palestine. And Gaza is like so small. But, you know, we'll see.
I think
that's the craziest part. I mean, the whole area is...
It's like one of the densest places in the world. Like, I think it's denser than Mumbai. It's crazy.
Mm.
It's crazy dense. So when you talk about carpet bombing Gaza, this is not a military assault. It's a massacre. And the other thing is self-defense. You can't... there is no self-defense when you're an occupier. So you occupy a land and they attack you. That's not self-defense for the occupier, you know? Like, so you can't say, oh, I occupied this town, then they attacked me and now I'm defending myself. You know, it was an invasion. And so there's so many ways you can talk about it, but again, to get away from the back and forth, to get away from the tit for tat, you gotta have somebody with real experiences. Otherwise, people aren't listening.
We're so far removed from, and as unpopular this is, we're so far removed from, you know, going back to what it was before '48.
Yeah,
that's gone. And we're so removed from, on the other side, of the people that believe that, you know, between the Nile and the Euphrates belongs to, you know, is the promised land. So, in between those two extremes, I would say somewhere in the middle, there has to be, you know, a solution to this.
And the reality is, the sad reality is that the reason there is a solution, and all the major players have at one point agreed to it. You know, there is a two-state solution. There is a possibility for peace, and most people in that region want peace. The reality is that in America, we have so much influence, and we are not committed to peace.
Correct. We're not pushing it.
We're not pushing it. We're not committed to it. What we are committed to is continuing the conflict.
I had stats on that.
Having one side, you know, just have all the chips.
Because there are people in this country for whom the continuation of the status quo is beneficial to them.
Yeah.
You know,
politically beneficial, and that's sad. And that's so. We as Americans have to realize that we are culpable for the violence that's happening. It's not violence started and, oh, we think it's terrible. It's we are culpable for the continuing violence and the escalation of the violence in that region. And unless we are aggressively advocating for peace, unless we're aggressively pushing for peace and making it unacceptable to continue the violence,
right?
You know, unless we're doing that, we are really, really hurting America, because it's not really about, it's about America.
Yeah, but you know who's equally to blame? I would say you would have more of a blame, and I think this is the part that Muslims have a hard time recognizing. I think the Arab countries, particularly Saudi,
yeah, absolutely,
I would say have more responsibility than America does, because you can chalk up our stance here to the interest of national security or our self-interest.
Right. I mean, I think they're wrong, but you're right.
Let's just say fine. America's doing what it wants to do in its own self-interest.
Right.
Fine. And unfortunately, the Arab countries in our region and the ones that are the neighbors do things that are in their self-interest, and yet they fan the flames.
Yeah, they fan the flames. They use it as a political tool. And so they don't want to push for peace.
The one country that's benefited the most from this has been Jordan. They tell the Israelis that we're the DMZ zone that has kept all the Arabs out of invading Israel, right? Turns around and tells the rest of the Arabs that, hey, we're smack up against Israel and we're preventing Israel from ransacking all of the rest of the Arab world, and they get money.
Yeah,
and, it's just benefited.
That was some of the things that I was researching, because looking for 2013, the requests in terms of the budget for where money's going to be allocated.
In the federal budget.
Yeah,
$15 billion, right?
$3.1 billion going to Israel. Egypt has $1.5 billion going to them. So it's kind of like, okay, how much would they really step in? I know they're supposed to be trying to, align some sort of ceasefire or something like they did before, a couple years back that pretty much fell apart. But when they're getting that much money from the United States, it's really going to be, okay, which way does the United States want to go with this?
Right, but what will also be interesting is
and even with Jordan, they have close to $670 million. Well, actually, over $670 million allocated for them from the U.S.
Think about all the deficit and debt talks that we've been having.
It's bullcrap, man.
What was it? We're talking $100 billion cuts, and that's, you just mentioned like $10 billion.
Yeah, I mean, just the top 10 accounts for something like.
By the way, I've already been retweeted 3 times.
Oh yeah, okay.
When I tweeted out that I was doing this show.
All right,
nice.
Sweet. That's right. You got to follow him. He's a celebrity. Celebrity. We can put you on as a consultant.
Twitterer.
Twitter.
When I've been tweeting for a long time. I started in
Twitter.
I started in 2008.
Okay.
Last year, Samia started tweeting. Within probably 3 months, she had more followers than me. It burned, man.
It burned.
Wow. How many followers do you have?
I have almost 500. She has like 530 or 540.
That's because
I was up around it when
I told myself it was because she was a journalist, and so there's a reason to. But I think she's just funnier.
But the question is, how many of those followers actually? That's the thing that drives me mad.
Translate that into something tangible.
Well, it depends on what you're doing for it. So I'm not raising money. What I use Twitter for is literally to have a conversation. And so people do tweet me back or retweet me, or and also it's useful for me. It's actually the fastest way that I get news, faster than anything else. And I use it a lot to follow news about economics, politics, research on housing and poverty and all this stuff. And I mean, most of the research that I read, most of the statistics I get from Twitter, and I favorite it, and then I follow the link to the website. So for me, it's invaluable. If you want to have a conversation, and it takes time. Twitter is like any conversation. So imagine Twitter is like you're in a crowded room shouting.
Right.
And so you have to say the right things for a while, and then the people who are interested in what you're saying are going to suddenly coalesce around you, and it takes time. And if you're not having a conversation, they're not going to listen. So if you're in a crowded room and all you do is just shout, people just tune out.
You're going to need to annoy, dude. Yeah,
exactly.
So I was looking to see how many followers we got.
You have 45 or 44
followers
for the community radio show.
Yeah,
I just
we have 21.
Well, let me ask you this, since you're the
guess who's following us? The Library of Virginia.
Nice.
That's right. It's not the quantity, it's the quality. I can say something else, but then you're going to have to edit that out there. It's out of that too. Asif is following us. Ikna is following us.
Oh my God.
How? That means that they're following us, right? That's my followers.
Yes.
They're following us.
Well, we need to ask them for some money.
How did they end up?
See if they have a grant.
How did they?
You should ask Ikna and Isna for grants.
We need to put. I actually wanted to put the pitch together, and then send it to.
Wait, listen, man.
Like every major masjid that
Muslim
we know,
organization.
every
That's fine.
major Muslim organization.
When do you want to get together?
It's so hard, man.
You gotta just put together one proposal and shop it around.
Did you get my email?
Well, I mean,
Check your email. You should be on my list.
Putting that PowerPoint was a big part of that.
There's a PowerPoint in there.
But this is what I'm saying. We should do kind of like a video log of that PowerPoint and actually present it and then email the video.
You got to get that man on the show.
No, I'm not.
No.
Why? I always get this from him every now and then. Some crazy email about something crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he always has, you know, these.
When we wrap this up so we can have the conversation. All right.
All right. So this has been the after show. I don't even know when the after show actually started. It's probably just gonna cut in at some point after whatever oddities were said in the beginning. So yeah, same time, same channel. Hopefully, as long as we have funding, which I don't, you know, I gotta talk to this guy. He keeps me in the dark about the money.
Allah's the provider, right?
Exactly.
You know, and
if Allah's not providing, then that obviously means that, you know, Allah
it's not meant to be. I can sleep in on Saturdays again, you know. But Ali Faruk, just want to thank you, man. It's been a great time, great interview.
Thank you guys.
We'll have to have you back.
Talk about I really want to get him on about his policy work. And stuff that he's doing is just very enlightening. And
well, consider yourself
it'll be, you know,
scheduled.
He's my campaign manager, Richard Steele.
Richard Steele. Well, thank you guys. You guys are doing really, really good work. It's really hard, man. The stuff you guys are doing is hard. And it takes a strong stomach.
I just want to be able to quit my job, then hey, I'll be in.
Don't put that in there, man. People think we're trying to get rich off of this.
Nah, man. I just look. I'm
to do it full time.
You know me. I'm gonna say what I honestly feel. I'm not trying to get rich, but if this is something that is important to me,
you feel powerful.
And,
oh my God, I would just be like, this would be like the dream job.
Not like see. My thing is, you know me. I'm kind of a backstage person. Let me take care of all the technical stuff. You know, business-wise and, you know, AV and all of that stuff. I don't have to be sitting here talking, you know what I'm saying? I like listening and watching later on, you know. But I want it to be a legitimate organization, you know, on the news front with you know, an Islamic, Muslim.
So they call, so people call upon us to say, hey, you know what it's like to be in the Muslim community. What is, you know, what's the pulse of the Muslim community for X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
What's this? What's that?
Where do we stand on certain
this
issues?
And all that kind of stuff? And they have an avenue of coming into the community and getting information and disseminating information. So. And
then when, you know, news sources like, you know, American Family Radio starts saying something crazy, we have our own base to kind of respond to.
Christian Broadcast Network that says we're having kids to take over the country.
Yeah, you know.
Well, they've said some friendly things about Saudi Arabia. Like, I think I heard Pat Robertson say that somebody was complaining that his wife didn't listen to him, and he said you should move to Saudi Arabia so you could beat her.
That's right. I mean,
so they like that.
Yeah, no, right.
Things are changing.
They are. They like that.
Yeah.
They get lashes for being drunk. So
that is one thing I could not. When I was in Saudi Arabia, I was like, this is what the religious right wants. And
in this country, the religious right in this country.
And I wish they could be here and see it. I don't think they would want it.
No. They would want it. You know why? Because they would be in control. It's, you know.
It's a sad state of the union.
So,
all right, folks. Thank you guys so much.
Definitely. Same time, same channel, community radio show. Peace.